Bang. Bang. All right. All right. Hum, 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 and hum. Let's see how we doing. Let's see how we doing. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna look around. We're gonna look at all of this stuff. Kaboom, boom, boom. All right, people. All right, we are actually looking pretty damn good. We are looking pretty damn good right now. I am feeling it, people. I am really feeling it. Let's see if all the... Yeah, we're looking good. And I like it when things look good. When things look good, I feel good. So, give me a couple of seconds and then we'll get to the intro. Actually go over creaking chairs. Shut the door. Woo! Where's my jug of water? There it is. Let's begin. Do, 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 do. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, or I should say, welcome to The Grotto Show. I'm your host, Monkey Jam, and this is my grotto. Man, have I been away, people? Have I been away? Thank you, Stews. Thank you, Stews, so much. I actually worked on this backdrop today when I actually woke up. And I'm actually loving it. It actually looks pretty good. I'm rather proud of myself, man. I'm actually getting there. I'm starting to really get this stuff done. You know what I mean? Man, has it been a while. And man, has it been a lot that I have missed. Woo! There has been a lot that I've missed, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a wild 2 months. Hasn't it? It has been a wild 2 months. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happened to you, monkey? Where did you go? Well, if you were actually following me on Twitter, which I definitely suggest you do, by the way, pretty sure the links are down below. If not, you can find me at twitter.com/jammonkey, the J and the M capitalized. Feel free to find me there. Feel free to follow me on both there and YouTube. I'm setting up a Twitch right now so that I can dual stream. And we can actually start making some content. Feel free to chill. Tell me what kind of content you want. Now, let's get back into it. I've been gone for a while. I went on a hiatus to get done with school. And then school was kicking my butt. And then I had a nice little run-in with the Kung Flu. It was magnificent. And I say that as a person that was really struggling through that. I wasn't really struggling. That's a lie. I wasn't really struggling with it. But I'm not going to lie. It's one hell of a virus. It is truly one hell of a virus. So, just to those of you out there, do what you can. You want to get vaccinated, go ahead and get vaccinated. If you don't do it. It's really not up to me. I am just a monkey. I'm not here to give you medical advice. I'm not here to convince you whether or not the jab in the arm is rather good or not. You do what you need to do, and I will do what I need to do. And hopefully we can coexist together, okay? Okay, let's get into it, people. So, while I was sick, and got better, then got sick again, then got hospitalized, not because of the virus, but more of the after effects of the virus, i.e. the blood clotting. Thank you, C-chan. I will make sure to deliver unto you a mighty thrust from my trident seen above. So, as I was getting better, as I was recovering, it seemed like everything was just going to hell? Netflix adaptations of Cowboy Bebop and One Piece? One Piece? One Piece, people. Not only did they screw up the Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, which, let's be honest, people, we knew that wasn't going to happen. It was impossible to do that. But if you want more impossible with your impossible, with a little dash of impossible, they decided to go ahead and greenlight a live action run of One Piece. Now, you can be the most normie of anime viewers or manga readers and know that adapting One Piece for a live action is it's too impossible. It's impossible. It is the borderline definition of impossible. Me becoming a mutant, all right? Like a freaking giant monkey the size of Kong, all right? And actually throwing hands with Godzilla and winning is more likely than actually being able to create a convincing One Piece adaptation. Not even a good one, a convincing one. So, needless to say, I was depressed. I'm not gonna lie. I was rolling in deep, people. I was depressed. And I needed a pick-me-up. I needed a pick-me-up so bad. So bad I needed a pick-me-up. I needed a pick-me-up so goddamn bad. So, I decided to put my faith in a supposed entertainer. An entertainer that I knew has disappointed me in the past. But I believed, people. I truly believed that this man could not fuck it up. He couldn't screw this up at all. Could not screw this up at all. But alas, people, alas, I was wrong. Today, people, we are going to be talking about a series of topics, mainly 3. But the first one I want to address is no, it's not the most egregious, but it is one that almost cratered an entire Saturday, which had to be made up for ramen. Thank God for ramen, and thank God for plum wine. Plum wine is good. I support it. It's a good pick-me-up after watching a terrible horror movie. What is the horror movie in question? Well, if you could tell from the thumbnail, people, the horror movie in question was the new remake of The Candyman by yours truly, Mr. Worldwide Jordan Peele himself, the motherfucker. Look at this man. Look at him. Look at his eyes. He knows what he's done to me. He knows exactly what he has done, how he's done it. Golly. Let's break this shit down, all right? Let's truly, 100% break this shit down, okay? Jordan Peele is Jordan Peele. Now, it may not occur to you that this man is in fact Jordan Peele, but our definitions of Jordan Peele are vastly different from this man's definition of Jordan Peele. You see, my version of Jordan Peele is a comedian, a very good, very talented comedian that decided that he too wanted a Stephen King phase, but not the fun Stephen King phase. You know, not the Stephen King phase where you're literally high off of almost every drug like available in freaking Hollywood, writing like Hamilton Super Saiyan mode and writing the most grotesque, vile crap in order to be adapted into some of the most scariest, most classic horror films ever. You're not going through that phase. No. You're going through the post-drug Stephen King phase. You know, the uninteresting one. That one. When was the last time you heard anything cool from Stephen King that wasn't related to shit that he wrote up in the past? It, Cujo, what was it? I want to say Children of the Corn is his as well. Think about that shit. Think about it. No. My definition of Jordan Peele is simply a man working within the genre that he truly does not understand. But Jordan Peele's definition of Jordan Peele, oh God, he thinks he is the next freaking up and coming horror mastermind. All right? He believes he's giving Guillermo del Toro a run for his money. All right? Guillermo del Toro. This man thinks he can do it. He thinks he can do it. And not only does he think he can do it, what makes it even more egregious, he thinks it's already done. It's already done, people. It's written in the cards. It's gospel. This man fervently believes that he is truly a horror literary genius. All right. This man thinks he's the shit. He really does. Now, mind you, he has made a single good movie. One. And that was Get Out. Get Out was good. I'm not going to lie. Get Out was wonderful. But it wasn't horror. Hell, it was barely a thriller, but it wasn't horror at all. It was a nice little mystery with thriller elements, with like a dash of horror here and there, like a dash of it. But this man, oh no, he couldn't stop. He couldn't stop. And the thing is, I don't blame him. I cannot blame him for his mindset of thinking that he is a genius. Okay? You cannot blame this man for thinking that he's a genius. All right? You can't blame him. Stoofs. You know what? Okay. You know what? Okay. All right. Us was okay. Us was okay. A good suspense film. Now, I'll give you that. A good suspense film. But it wasn't horror. Jordan Peele is a man that doesn't understand what is horrific about the horrific genre. He has a very, very, very stable understanding of what can constitute as an extremely engaging thriller. I won't say he has mastered the thriller genre, but he knows how to give you thrills. But he does not know how to scare you. He doesn't know how to scare you. All right. Now I know what you're thinking, people. I know what you are thinking. But Monkey, how do you know what scares people? Who made you the arbiter of the horror genre? Well, I'll tell you, people. Absolutely goddamn no one. All right? No one has made me the arbiter of horror because I gotta be real with you. Most horror films these days are weak shit. All right? They're absolutely weak. All right? Spend a few hours on the SCP page and then get back to me on what the fuck you know about horror. All right? Sometimes, like some of that shit, I couldn't even sleep at night because it fucked me up. All right? Go look at like horror Twitter, not horror writer Twitter. I'm talking like horror artist Twitter, and get back to me on on your current understanding of horror. Okay, people? This man does not understand horror, and that's okay. It's okay to not truly understand horror. Sometimes it's not your genre, all right? Sometimes it's not your genre. In my honest opinion, freaking, like, Jordan Peele, I honestly believe he's a better comedian than he is or horror anything. Horror producer, horror writer, horror director. He's not a horror anything, because anything he produces, I'm not gonna lie, I straight laugh. I laugh. And Candyman was no different. It was comedic. Absolutely comedic. Now, let me break down to you my opinions. And I do mean opinions because everyone's experience with the movie is subject to their own. They're their own experiences. But my experience was not the greatest. I feel like I've been gypped, bamboozled, robbed of my $15, man. This man fleeced my $15, took a baseball bat, and in Sharpie wrote morality and proceeded to break my ankles. That's what it felt like watching this movie. And before you say, oh, well, you're just giving top of your head opinions, you don't have anything structured, monkey. You're just doing this on the fly. Well, dear viewer, how wrong you are. I've prepared notes. Notes, people. I have prepared notes. And the first note that I need to address, or I would say the first flaw that I need to address in the remake of The Candyman, is Jordan Peele himself. Jordan Peele is like a man that hasn't jacked off in over 3 weeks. He can't help himself. All right? He just can't. He has a need, man. He has a need. He needs to peel all over the script, and that he did. Jordan Peele made sure that his essence was spread across all sheets of the script, both sides of the script. And not only that, he also had the audacity to take a look at his seed and mutter in disgust as how dare his body have the audacity to contain something white within it. How dare it? I'm going to tell you guys right now. One day, the color of sperm is going to be racist. That's right, people. Cum is a symbol of white supremacy. You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying, people? I'm not. I'm really not. But, to actually get serious for a moment, Jordan Peele does good in this movie. He does okay in this movie. He knows how to entertain you. But as I said before, he just can't help himself. He really can't. He needs to make sure that you truly, and I do mean truly, understand the message that he is putting forth in his movie. It doesn't matter whether or not the movie has its own message, which it does, and I know what you're thinking, dear viewer. I know what you're thinking. But monkey, you say to yourself, you didn't watch the original. You don't know about the original themes in the original movie, so how can you get mad at this man for shoving themes into the movie that are, somewhat related? That's a fair point. I did not watch the movie. However, I did do my research on the movie. Yes, because unlike a good amount of people out here, I actually do proper fucking research. I am aware of the gentrification themes that goes on in the Candyman franchise, especially the franchise in the past. That was the whole basis of not only the movie, but just the story in itself. It was a commentary on just how the black community was basically being overlooked, shifted from their homes, their communities, like first being shoved into communities and then being shoved out of them, having those communities broken down, whitewashed, damn near burned to the ground to make way for new development, aka gentrification. I'm aware of these themes. But as with all things, the original Candyman actually handled it better by not beating you over the head with it. Jordan Peele has this problem that most modern movie makers have, and that is the extreme rebellions against subtlety and nuance. You want to know why the original Candyman both worked as a horror movie and as a little commentary on the acts of gentrification? Because it blended it, mixed it. It made sure to give you a proper meal of both themes and tropes. It gave you a horror film, it gave you a thriller, but then it also gave you a message. It blended it together and then served it to you on a silver platter. And honey, baby, you ate it up. You ate it up. But Jordan Peele, no. Jordan Peele does not like subtlety. Subtlety means that you have to think, that you have to come to the conclusion that meets his interpretation of the message. Jordan Peele has to rely on basic human communication, presenting a message and then hoping that you have interpreted that message correctly. No. Jordan Peele doesn't take risks. Jordan Peele doesn't want you to think. Jordan Peele wants you to know. He wants you to feel. Don't use your brain. Don't use your heart. Just recognize his message. And he does it so to the point to where this man will literally pause the movie. Now, that is hyperbole. I am exaggerating just a teensy bit. I'm not going to lie. He doesn't literally pause the movie and then walk out in the suit dressed like Rob Sterling. Thank you for ruining Twilight Zone, you piece of shit. But anyway, oh God, man. But anyway, it's not like he actually pauses the movie, walks out, and then proceeds to give you a message. No. He pauses the movie in pacing, and you can physically feel the movie stopping suddenly in both dialogue, audio, visual cues. Everything just stops. And the only thing that you can focus on in the dialogue is just a propaganda message. I've put it to the person like this. You'll have an entertaining thriller film. Because I won't call this horror. I'll call it thriller. You'll have a very entertaining thriller film for quite a few minutes. And then suddenly, pause. White people, am I right? And then we keep going. Like, no, that's not how we do it. And then you can literally count the minutes. Like maybe, I would say on average, 15 to 20 minutes later, you're watching a fairly good thriller. And then pause. Every 30 seconds, a black man dies in the street. What will you do to counter this? And then it keeps going. What the hell? Like, this is my one message. Not only to just Jordan Peele, but just to everyone. But I would say, no, fuck everyone else. This is specifically for Jordan Peele. I'm just going to do this. Jordan Peele, let me watch my goddamn movie. Alright? Please, let me watch my goddamn movie. Paid $15 for this shit. I want to watch a movie. I don't want to watch your commentary on socio-political events. I don't want to hear your message. I want to see people get slashed up. If I paid $15 for a horror film, god damn it, Jordan Peele, I want a horror film. Give me blood, boy, blood. But anyway, people. But anyway. Jordan Peele could not help himself. Even though he wasn't even the director of this film. He just could not help himself. And the director did little to stop him. In almost every scene, you either see or hear some reference to Black Lives Matter. Which, if you know me personally, or at least you've seen any of my previous other streams and or videos, you already know my opinions on the whole Black Lives Matter when it comes to the ideology. The factual statement, I have no problems with because, once again, it is factual. Black lives do indeed matter. But where the problem lies in Black Lives Matter, the ideology, is that I fundamentally believe that a black man's life or a black woman's life is exactly equal to a white man's and a white woman's life. Exactly equal. The Black Lives Matter ideology will have you disagree with this. And not only disagree with this, but disagree with this vehemently. So you will have many references to Black Lives Matter sprinkled all over here. And I don't know who the fashion designer is for this show, but they need to be drawn. No, they need to be hung, drawn, and then quartered. My God, the fucking fashion in this damn movie. They did us wrong, people. If you're of black blood like me, they did us wrong. I don't know what they did. The main character, Anthony Mackie, not Anthony Mackie. Oh, God, Anthony Mackie. Oh, I got him on the brain. Oh, my. Woo! That's a man. But anyway, my God. Now I feel like watching something with Anthony Mackie in it. Hell, it'll be a better movie than this shit. But anyway, the main character, Anthony McCoy, an artist that's trying to look for a new muse. He spends like 80% of the movie walking around with a fucking red beanie. Alright? Red beanie. And it's not even pulled on his head all the way. It just sits there on top of his head. It just fucking sits there. Like, take that shit off, man. It does nothing. And then they did the gay man wrong. Oh, God, they did the gay man wrong. They put this boy in just the loudest pants I've ever seen in my life. Now, mind you, I'm mad at some loud pants. I'm surely not loud at some loud pants. Especially if there's something to look at. But, boo-boo, if you are wearing a white shirt and you got like pantsuit stripes, beige base color, red and green thin stripes going down the fucking pant legs, you need to be slaughtered. Like, no, like, that's not allowed. No one wears stripes like that anymore. You might as well come at me with polka dots. Alright? So they treated the gay man wrong in fashion. They treated nearly all of the black people wrong as far as fashion. And the thing is, there was this poor little black high school girl that looked like she had duct tape in her beautiful little fucking braids. It looked like she put duct tape on her fucking braids. And I'm just sitting here like, who did that to you? Where is your mother? Nah, fuck your mother. Who's your best friend? Who's your sister? You need a woman that knows hair in your life, honey. The fuck are you doing? That's why you're getting bullied by these white people. Not because you're black, but because somebody done fucked up your head. I would have bullied you. And I'm a monkey. So that should be saying something. But anyway. Once again, I must point out the fact that Jordan Peele couldn't help himself. He couldn't keep himself off of the property. Even though that the Candyman property itself has strong commentary roots. You can actually make a proper message, a very proper message, if you just mixed in everything, added nuance, added character, and stuck with the genre. And speaking of genre, the monster of Candyman itself, Jordan Peele almost voids completely. If you don't know, the monster that is Candyman is in fact a monster. And if you don't know anything about monster movies, monsters have certain rules. You could call these rules ability sets or move sets, if you will. But the thing is, the monsters can only do so much and interact with the scene so much. Alright? They can have an almost infinite list of abilities, but the types of monsters always come down to, I would say, four different categories. And they all run like this. You have a monster that is both escapable and defeatable. You have a monster that's escapable but indefeatable. You have a monster that's defeatable but inescapable. And then you have a monster that's inescapable and indefeatable. These are the four monster types in any, and I do mean any, given monster movie. From your run-of-the-mill demon horror flick to an actual creature flick like, let's say, Godzilla and Kong, if you will. All monster films, whether they be horror or action, follow these four characteristics. Now, the thing is, when it comes to horror, people tend to write more towards the inescapable, indefeatable monster. which is fair. I'm not mad at it, but the thing is, I have a personal rule when it comes to inescapable, indefeatable monsters. The movie absolutely has to end in tragedy. Everybody has to die. If the protagonist or cast of protagonists cannot escape the monster, nor could they defeat the monster, they need to die. All of them. That, or you write the monster to where they're indefeatable but escapable for 2 movies, and then it all ends in tragedy in the 3rd movie. A trilogy, if you will. Most horror writers try to do that. Most of them do. But what ends up happening is that if you actually follow those 4 categories and you get a hit, you then run into a lot of problems, because you either have to nerf characters' abilities to, I would say, think. So let's say you have a smart character, a really smart character, has some common sense, knows at least a few horror tropes in their time. You would have to dumb them down in order for them to be either defeated or killed or anything like that, especially if you want this to be a trilogy and for people to actually connect with those characters. The problem with Candyman, or at least the Candyman remake, is that Jordan Peele kind of ignores these rules. And I do mean kind of, because I have to give him a little bit of credit. He doesn't outright ignore all of the rules regarding the monster that is Candyman, but he ignores it to a certain point that is actually irritating. Candyman, for those of you that don't know, is basically a monster, a demon, something that has manifested off of the collective belief of a certain area. Like all demons that have been formed out of the collective belief of a certain area, a certain ritual is required in order for them to be summoned. In Candyman's case, you need to say his name 5 times in a mirror, and he appears. Now, the thing is, that's the most to his mechanics. You summon him, he kills you, it's a done deal from there. However, he has a bunch of hidden mechanics as well. In fact, there's not just one Candyman, but actually a league of Candymen. Or one could say that it kind of works like Avatar, where there's one incarnation of the Candyman, and then while they're about to fade away, another incarnation of the Candyman comes to take the place. As is the case with Avatar. One Avatar dies, another Avatar is reborn. There's not a world without an Avatar, therefore, in this case, there's not a world without the Candyman, which is a very extreme problem, if I do say so myself. But anyway, people, Candyman's mechanics is real simple. Summon him, he kills you. And if you meet certain criteria, i.e. if he actually decides to interact with you first, whether it be a bee sting or just having general knowledge of him in the first place, and he slowly starts to take a fancy to you, consuming your life, harassing you and everybody around you, you yourself will have a chance to become the Candyman. One of the triggers for this is basically the death of an innocent, unjustified, violent murder. Because it has to be unjustified, it has to be an innocent person, and it has to be extremely violent. The first Candyman was created when there was a short tryst between a black artist and the daughter of a very wealthy white man. The father's men dragged this man out to a certain part of the field, cut off his hand, shoved a rusted meat hook into the stump, took a local beehive, and pressed it against his chest, watching as the man writhed in agony, danced in horror and pain as he was stung to death and his body burned, ashes scattered all over the land. Upon this land was built a project, or a ghetto, if you will. And because these people made the fatal mistake of spreading a murder victim's ashes any fucking where, especially on land that's about to be developed, once again, the spirit of this madman was born. That combined with the collective oppressiveness that the black people at that time was feeling, and their extreme and most definitely justified opposition to authority, and the cops blaming the fictional Candyman for this man's spirit bound itself to the story of the Candyman and thus became the Candyman. So, in order to become another iteration of the Candyman, you too must be within that area or interacting with the people of that area and must die a violent, unjust death, a borderline murder, in order to become a Candyman. Now, the thing is, the Candyman does not discriminate at all. You call his name, he kills you. Black, white, Mexican, man, woman, other, I guess. It doesn't matter to the Candyman. Call his name, you're dead. Unless he kind of likes you, in which case you just turn into a Candyman. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Alright. Now what Jordan Peele wanted to do was a little bit different. Candyman is no longer a monster. No. Jordan Peele doesn't do monsters. He doesn't do horror. No. He does messages, baby. So what does this man decide to do? I'll tell you what he decides to do. He decides to make Candyman a hero. No. Better, an anti-hero. Candyman is now the hero of the black folk, out to take his vengeance upon those dirty, dirty white people and those piggish cops. This man thinks he's a literary genius. He turned a monster, an urban legend, a thing that indiscriminately killed, and in fact was actually probably more responsible for more black murders than any sort of fucking murders, and decided to make it a hero of the people, not bound by laws or government, but here to protect us, the black folk, from the ever-encroaching influence of the whites. This man's a fucking hack, alright? It's terrible. And how does he ignore the monster rules, you may ask? Simple. The protagonist, Anthony McCoy, is one such new incarnation of the Candyman. His wife, being placed in a very, 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 very stupid and out-of-place situation, calls his name Candyman 5 times in the rearview mirror of a cop car. He thus comes out and lays upon them a vengeful wrath, killing the cops one by one in a gruesome manner, all to the backdrop harmony of the swarming of angry bees. Literally sounding like Batman rattling off this speech of like, oh, I am the something. Man, sounded like Batman real bad. Kills everyone, but not her. No. Does not kill the woman. Because, in fact, there's now a new rule to the Candyman. If you just so happen to be piping or had piped the person that was calling your name, you don't have to kill him. Nah. You don't have to kill him at all. You don't have to kill the one responsible for summoning you if you kinda know them. Well, not kinda know them. If you had relations with them. Now, someone tried to sell this off to me as, oh, the power of love stopped him from killing her. Bullshit. Alright? This man ignored the rules of monsters slightly. But ignored it to the point that at that point, towards the end of the movie, was absolutely fucking egregious to me. Now, is this to say that The Candyman is overall a bad film? I won't say it's completely a bad film. I will not say that it's completely a bad film. It is a very good thriller with horror elements, but if you want horror, you won't find it here, people. You won't find scares here. You'll find some laughs, some very good body horror. I will give them that. I'll give both the producer and the director that. That was some very, very, very good body horror. But no scares. No scares at all. Just minor discomfort and cringe. That's all I can offer you with this. All in all, I would say don't waste your time with it, but this is America. You're free to do what you want, people. Do whatever the hell you want. Go ahead and watch this movie. I have no right to judge you. But me? Nah, I can't stand this shit. It's not a 1 because I'm not cruel like that. I actually had some genuine times where I was entertained by this man. But it wasn't worth $15 of entertainment. So unfortunately, I'm probably just going to have to give this a 3. I'm just going to have to give this a 3. It's bad, but it's not completely unwatchable, all right? It's not completely unwatchable. You can have some time with it, all right? But the thing is, there are plenty of things that you can watch. There are plenty of things that you can enjoy in the time that you have upon this earth, and man, there's a lot. You could go on Netflix and binge quite a few cartoons. Old cartoons, of course, because the new ones, ugh, they're terrible, man. But if you like a few little classic cartoons, you can go on Netflix or any of your other streaming sites and relive a bit of nostalgia. And sometimes when you're going down that nostalgia high, you may have questions. You may start asking yourself, well, how would this show look like in the modern era? How would people accept this show in the modern times? Which I think applied in the correct way and critically thought in a multitude of ways, but I would say a multitude of in-depth ways, can actually lead to some pretty interesting conversations, maybe even some revelations and opinion changes. You can really do like a lot of stuff. You can write a full essay on this stuff. It's very easy to think about this. But unfortunately, the modern day doesn't allow for a lot of critical thinking, which is an absolute shame because I think people should critically think more. It's a good practice to get into. But the unfortunate thing is some people just don't think all the way. Or they have an opinion, but an opinion that is so trash that nobody responds to it, which is fair. I have those opinions as well. I have plenty of trash opinions. And quite a few people have let me know that, hey man, that opinion was trash. I take it for what it is. Take it for what it is. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes nobody's right. Sometimes everybody's wrong. It's just what's in the cards for you. However, sometimes you can look at a statement and both say to yourself and everyone around you that this take is objectively wrong. And I want to show you a take like that today. Now, you may not see it all the way. You gotta love the rendering on these softwares, you know what I mean? But the thing is, I'll go ahead and read it aloud to you. So then that way, you guys can actually understand what the hell I'm getting at. So, let me pop this on the screen. Boop, boop. And if you can read it, we'll go ahead. I thank you for reading it. But if you can't, I'll go ahead and read this to you. Now, mind you, this is a person that lives in a server that I also hang out in. And we tend to debate from time to time. Is actually a rather favorite pastime of mine occasionally when I feel up to it. But we actually have this little debate tab where you can go in, present your argument, and then hopefully someone will come around and actually debate you on it. The problem is that sometimes you have trash takes like this. If Avatar: The Last Airbender came out today, people on YouTube would be screaming that it's woke, that it has all the progressive traits of woke media, meaning woke is not a consistent concept and is just a way to try and push back against the recent progressive strides in media discuss. Now, as I said before, sometimes you can always have a take. It is well within your right to have a take, and I respect anyone for having a take on any sort of freaking topic. However, if you know anything about Avatar: The Last Airbender, you would be scratching your head like, well, what the fuck does woke even mean? If you know what woke means, and you know at least a little bit about Avatar: The Last Airbender, you would still kind of scratch your head like, maybe? Who knows? However, if you're like me, and you know what the hell woke is, or the definition of woke, or even the culture of woke, if you will, and you're also a diehard Avatar: The Last Airbender fucking nerd, you would probably have the same reaction that I have, which is, well, I have to clear my voice for this. Hold on. I have to clear my voice for this. Yeah, that would be my reaction. Man, that felt good. That felt really good. This argument is absolutely laughable because, and I will get into a little bit, once you actually analyze what woke is, what woke culture is, and the traits of storytelling, or even having a basic knowledge of storytelling in Avatar: The Last Airbender, you would realize that, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. So, how about I just break down woke for you? And I promise you guys, I'm going to do my absolute best in not putting my own personal biases in this definition. This is going to be an extremely diluted 10 million foot view of what the term woke is, and it's not something to worry about if you don't know it. The term woke, to put it in the most layman terms as possible, is that let's say one day you had a grand realization, a great awakening, if you will, to all the social injustices and just social problems in general going on in the world. Not just your own personal problems or anything of the sort. No. Your awareness is expanding. You're now aware of social injustices going across the country, plaguing it, rotting it into its core. And not only your country, but also the entire world. The entire world seeped in its core in social injustices. And the thing is, now since you had this great awakening, it is now your moral imperative to do something about it. And you have quite a few ways of doing it. You can either participate in protests or any sort of activism role, whether it be just commenting on Twitter or harassing other people. I mean, they don't really harass. Well, both sides kind of harass. Like I said, trying to keep my personal peace out of it. But now, since you had this great awakening to social injustices, it is now your moral imperative to dedicate your life in absolutely eliminating these social injustices one by one. There is no retreat. There is no surrender. There is no compromise. Anyone that even deigns to defend or even offer a different take on these so-called injustices, they are the enemy, and they must be pushed out of the way so that you can completely obliterate these things. Nuance is just a distraction. Other people's opinions, a distraction. Because now, as I said before, it is now your moral imperative to solve these social injustices. It is up to you to completely and utterly eliminate racism at all. And not only is it your moral imperative to eliminate racism, but you have an uphill battle as everything now is racist. Yes, racism is not only alive and well, but thriving somehow. But not only that, sexism is just prevalent as well in every aspect of society, not only in this country, but to the world as a whole. And a host of other injustices, other freedoms, other rights being denied, oppression in almost every corner of the globe. And now, since you're aware, you must take up arms against these things in any way that you can. That, in the most layman's terms, is woke. And woke culture branches right off of that into the hows you can do it. Most of woke culture predominantly exists on Twitter. And the most activity that happens with woke culture is basically sending out thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands, close to millions, if not hundreds of millions, tweets a day, calling for the end of these social injustices and calling for awareness of these social injustices. Along with these tweets are tweets to various, and I do mean various amounts of mainstream media, badgering them, telling them that they must conform to these ways, else they're damaging the world as a whole. And not only mainstream media as a whole, but also politics. Your governor, your senator, your representative, your congressman, your president, all of them constantly bombarded by these people. Constantly telling them, not asking them, not offering solutions, but demanding that these people do something about these social injustices. And as it happens, the more that these people are bombarded with these tweets, with these demands, with these outright claims and everything, the more people actually cave and do that. It mostly happens in media. That's why you get this large push for representation, inclusivity, and diversity. And the thing is, the problem is that I won't get into that. That I won't get into that. That's a separate thing in itself. But I just wanted to offer you a definition of a layman's definition of what woke is. All right. Basically, you've awakened to all the social injustices of the world, and it's now your moral imperative to fix them. All right. If you get that, let's continue. Now then, let's break this down for a bit. So now, since you have at least a layman's understanding of woke, let me also break down to you what woke media is. If you recall The Last Jedi, that is the epitome of what you would call woke shit. And trust me, I know you guys are tired of me talking about this shit. I'm tired of talking about this shit too. But as a lot of people will freaking hit me with later if I don't talk about this shit, context matters. So of course, I have to fucking give the damn context. I'm already sick of this shit. But anyway. Woke media basically proceeds like this. Most often than not, you have a female character. A female character that does not look female at all. An extremely masculine female character that is most definitely a lesbian. Has half of her head shaved and the other half permed and flopped to the side. Usually dyed some version of either red, blue, or purple. No matter what they are always strong and good at everything. This is the protagonist. These are characteristics of quote-unquote woke entertainment. They are strong at everything. They are good at everything. They are a devout and aggressive lesbian. And they will make it known no matter what, that they are both strong, independent, and needy for the clam. All right? Not only that, but within woke media, you will find a extreme lack of plot or meaningful characters or anything like that, because it's all about the main character. It's all about her rise to power. It's all about her thwarting the men that has oppressed her somehow. It's all about that shit. And oh god. I would say that's the summary of woke media. It's usually a woman, an extremely masculine woman. She's usually gay. She wins all the time. Her only struggle is internal, and usually that internal struggle is that she's holding herself back. That's it. That's usually it. That's the whole plot of anything. You can do side-by-side comparisons to all the stuff. No real struggle other than you're holding yourself back. Men are oppressing you. You need to free yourself. Blah, 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 blah. You go, girl. Fight the power. That's the usual shit. If you see any sort of men in this show or movie, they're usually extremely weak, very dumb, or very effeminate. So you either got femboys, stupid boys, or dead boys. That's all I got. That's all I got. They either goofy and dumb, or just women with penises. That's literally it. All of this is to say that woke media has little to no substance at all. You can tell that there was no heart or true passion in it. The only passion that was in it was to deliver a message. Not to deliver you entertainment. Not to deliver unto you laughs, chuckles. Unlike me, I can at least squeeze a chuckle out of you. And I know what you want. Dance, monkey, dance. Trust me, I'm trying to dance, but I'm telling you, this shit is depressing. It makes me want to fucking die. But anyway. But let's get into it. Because as much as I vehemently am against this take, I do find it to be a very interesting conversation. And if you know anything about Avatar, we're not going to start with the main boy himself. We're actually going to start with the person that would have been the protagonist had this series been a quote-unquote woke whatever the fuck. And that is this lovely lady, Katara. Ooh, God. I used to have a crush on this woman, like, bad, dude. Bad! Woo! I used to have a crush on her. Bad, man. But I mean, look at her. What is not to love? This is a problem. And this is why I disagree with that take as far as Avatar The Last Airbender being considered woke media. If it was woke media, she would have been the main protagonist. Katara would have been the Avatar. And not only would she have been the Avatar, she would have been devoid of any character. And I do mean any character whatsoever. It would actually be borderline depressing. Katara is just a natural mother. She's a motherly person, and she was forced into that position when her own mother was taken away from her and her father went out to war. All she had was just her grandma, her brother, and just a few scant people in the village, most of them young kids. She had to become the surrogate mother. And not only that, she was the last waterbender of the South Pole, and a shitty one at that. She knew nothing about waterbending. She knew nothing about the trade, the art, the skills. She knew nothing about manipulating water as a whole, much less fighting with it. All in all, Katara kind of sucked at the beginning. She just sucked as a character or in her fitted character role. But the thing is, that's how all characters are supposed to start. They are supposed to start off as fucking lame. Well, not lame, but just dumb, stupid, inexperienced. novices. They are beginners. And as they fail over and over and succeed over and over, they begin to grow as characters. They get better, they get stronger, they get faster. They become more powerful. Katara is, I would say, the standard of what can be considered a strong woman. I won't even say like a strong independent woman, but I would say a strong woman of character. Because her true strength is her character. Alright? Now, as far as her role in the story, I would classify as the loyal knight. While one can say that she plays second fiddle to Aang. Oh, what's good, Pasta Doc? Love you, my man. But while she plays second fiddle to Aang and everything, she does fit in the archetype of the loyal knight. Her main motivations as far as traveling with Aang and getting stronger is to become a better waterbender. She wants to protect her village. She wants to protect Aang. She wants to protect Sokka, her brother. She needs to get stronger. And if this man is if this man Aang is fixing to go around the world trying to learn under masters, then she has to go with him. She has to protect him. She has to at least try to do something for him, because not only will that keep him safe, but that will also give her an opportunity to become stronger. And she desires to become stronger, and she fails to become stronger. But even in her failures to not only teach Aang waterbending, but also just to figure out waterbending for herself, she becomes stronger, better, faster, more wise, more smart. She's not just a motherly girl that heals the boys, whenever they get into a little scuffle. Oh, no, 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 no. She doesn't heal. This bitch fights, and she fights hard. God, I love Katara. But I love her for her character. She is endearing. But not only that, but she's the brat sometimes. She's bossy. She's sometimes too motherly. When you reject her motherly urges, she turns into an omega brat. Like stomping feet, throwing tantrums and shit, stealing. She turns into a brat. And she gets better over time. She does get better over time. But man, she turns into a brat hardcore, people. Hardcore. But the thing is, she learns from her mistake. She becomes a master waterbender, people. And it's not overnight. If this was woke media, she would have been the Avatar. Sokka would have stayed stupid. Aang wouldn't exist. She would have mastered all of the elements within a season. Wait, am I talking about fucking Korra? Oh my god. Ugh. Fuck Legend of Korra. Fuck Legend of Korra. You can enjoy it, I'm fine with it, but fuck Legend of Korra. Anyway. Katara is a strong person of character. She is endearing. She's motherly. She learns from her mistakes, and she knows what she wants. She wants to get stronger to protect the people that she cares about. So, this character alone and her character development already proves that Avatar: The Last Airbender wouldn't be considered woke in today's media. In fact, I think it would be highly regarded as still one of the best animated shows out there, even by today's standards, because she is so strong, because her character is grounded, stable, and realistic. And the thing is, I will actually point to an example, Pasta Doc. I'll point to an example that could be used against her in saying like, oh, well, this is a woke trait of hers. If you remember, and I do mean if you remember, what was it? Season 3, Book of Fire, Part 1, right before the invasion. All right, right before the invasion. The bloodbending episode. The old hag Hana hasn't even taught her a bloodbending move. She only introduces the concept of bloodbending. It can only be enacted in a full moon, and you have to have some weird understanding. Well, not some weird understanding. Some level of understanding of advanced waterbending. Old hag Hana, she understood advanced waterbending. That's what allowed her to observe the rats. That's what allowed her to observe the rats, bloodbend the rats, and everything like that. So, mind you, around this time, she hasn't even showed her a bloodbending move. It's all good, Pasta Dog. You already know me. You can always like watch the stream later. I usually just talk, so you don't even have to like stare at the screen, man. Just listen to my luscious voice, man. You can just listen to my luscious voice with whatever it is that you're doing. You don't have to stay, man. I'm more thankful that you're here anyway. And anyone that's watching right now, I am thankful that you're here watching me, putting up with my BS, because I promise you is BS. Then again, I call myself the King Baboon of BS. So you kind of get what you pay for. Anyway. But going back to my example, Katara knows nothing about bloodbending other than the concept of it. And then she is bloodbended upon by Hana when she outright rejects. Exactly. Like, she outright rejects bloodbending because it's like, I don't want to force my will upon other people. Old hag Hana, she gets pissed. She starts bloodbending Katara and is fucking her up. And I will say this is the one, like, very OP move. Right before Hana was about to, like, strike a finishing blow against, like, Sokka and Aang because she was bloodbending them, Katara bloodbended Hana. Got her to submit. She was taken away and everything like that. So you can't say, well, this was kind of a woke trait because Katara just suddenly mastered, an ability that she was just aware of, like Rey in basically the sequel trilogy, finding out about the Force and then 5 minutes later she's a goddamn master. No, people, that's not how that worked. Let me show you how this worked. By the time Season 3, Book of Fire, Part 1 starts, Katara is a master waterbender. Katara is a master waterbender. Not only is she a master waterbender, she is a combat specialist waterbender. Like, she is designed for combat. She fights with waterbending. Her sense of fighting, not sense of fighting, her combat sense are far fucking sharper than Hana's. Honestly, Hana is basically what Katara would have been. Honestly. Yeah, you're right, Pasta Dog. You're exactly right. Old hag Hana is what Katara would have been. And I honestly believe, and this might be a hot take, but I think it's real. Old hag Hana is Katara without Sokka, I would say. At the end of the day, if she never met Aang, if she never had Sokka, I think that would be her dark side at the end of the day. Like, oh my god. I think that would be her at the end of the day. And the thing is, I like that contrast, Pasta Dog. I really like that contrast. And yes, we'll get to Korra in a minute. We'll get to Korra in a minute. We will get to Korra in a little bit. But no, and the thing is, Katara didn't master bloodbending right then and there. She merely tried it out. Her combat sense, far more sharper than Hana's at this point. Her waterbending ability in terms of combat, far more refined than Hana's. Because mind you, Hana only knew how to fight from the waterbending from the waterbending masters that were over at the South Pole at that time. She was captured for years, managed to escape, and then just proceeded to bloodbend on people. Hana is a master of bloodbending. Katara, at that point, was a master at combat waterbending. So no, she didn't master it. She was just able to grasp the concept faster. Tried it out, was lucky enough to succeed, and one thing that people are forgetting, was so goddamn traumatized over the whole event that she practically vowed to never again bloodbend. Like, she had an Aang moment when Aang burned Katara's hand, and he was like, yo, I'm never firebending again. The difference between them, Aang didn't have a choice. He had to shut that shit up. But Katara, she had a choice. And that event just went against her character so vehemently that she swore to never do it again. So no, that's not a woke moment. That's not an OP moment. That's not a Mary Sue moment for Katara, alright? She was a master waterbender at that point. Trained combat specialist. So she understood and was able to apply the concept more quickly than what Hana was able to. Done deal. So no, if this was quote-unquote woke media, Katara would have been the Avatar. She would have mastered all of the elements, season 1. Most of her problems would have been internal, which would probably equate to either A, her holding herself back, or B, some sort of man holding her back. Sokka would have been goofy, and Aang would have been goofy. And speaking of Aang, let's go ahead and move on to him. Now, Aang... Star Trek to Star Wars. Yes, now Korra had action in spades. Korra had action in spades, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, I will say that's all Korra had was action. Like, that's all Korra really had was just non-stop action. And the thing is, y'all remember the last Agni Kai and just how fucking ungodly beautiful it was? Y'all remember that? I remember that, dude. Oh my god. I remember seeing the last Agni Kai, and holy god. Oh, it was beautiful. Zuko and Azula going at it all for the fucking crown, man. And just the way that the audio was sequenced, the visuals, the choreograph. If there's one thing I'll simp harder than women, it's fights. You're right. And you're right, Brichet. You're right. Like, Korra does look like Katara, only more stacked. And that's the one... If I gotta be real with you people, if I just gotta be fucking honest, that's the one thing that kept me through fucking Korra, was the fact that this woman was built like a brick house! Oh my god! This woman was just, It's like, God damn! The shit that I would do to that body. Oh my god. Ugh. But she was a total waste of a character. Wonderful body, but terrible waste of a character. But you wanna know what's not waste of a character? The boy. The boy with the arrow on his fucking head, Aang. Aang is the chosen one. That is just bar none. He is the chosen one, and he has to abide by the chosen one rules. Now, just because he's the chosen one doesn't mean that the world revolves around him. And in fact, the world tends to give him a very fucking rough deal when he emerges. Alright? Like a KV2. Stoops! Stoops! You right, but Stoops! Come on. A KV2, bruh. Bruh, you gotta measure them biceps by fucking mile by gallon. Jesus Christ. But no, Aang, if this was woke media, you should say, if Avatar: The Last Airbender was quote unquote woke media, Aang would be totally useless. And I do mean absolutely, positively, ungodly useless. All right. In fact, I would dare to say that uh, that there would probably be a case in which Katara would probably steal his powers. And I do mean steal his powers. Like somehow it would like do this like weird voodoo transfer, and then he stops being the Avatar, and then she becomes the Avatar. I don't fucking know. The only thing that I do know is that Aang would be totally useless. He wouldn't be the immature yet wise monk that he is. And the thing is, when Aang first started in the series, guess what? Him being the chosen one meant absolutely shit. It meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. Alright? The only thing Aang could do was fucking like flirt terribly with people, airbend, and only airbend defensively, and occasionally he'll glow, in which case he doesn't like glowing, he kind of hates glowing, and he doesn't know how to control the glow. Alright? He doesn't know how to control it. All in all, Katara sucked at being the loyal knight, and Aang sucked at being the chosen one. But once again, he got better. He got stronger. He failed. He failed miserably a few times. Almost to the point to where the world was practically doomed for a little bit. But he learned. He got stronger. He got better. He got wiser. You know, like he got better. He started really understanding his role as the chosen one. And not only that, but he also realized that even though he was the chosen one, he is still a person. He still has to uphold, there we go. He still has to uphold his values at the end of the day. The Avatar and Aang are basically two different people. And that was Aang's struggle for the longest time. That he was the Avatar. True. But he was also Aang, the air nomad. He was Aang the Avatar, the warrior bender, master of 4 elements, the great balance between the physical world and the spirit world. But he was also Aang, the immature air nomad that plays with beads. Y'all remember him spinning those beads? Y'all know what I thought when he was spinning those beads. We all thought that when he was spinning those beads. Don't play with me. We all thought that. Oh, God. Look at this man's face. This man knows how to please a woman. Look at him. Look at that smile. Look at that little smirk with them eyebrows. This man's a pussy chaser. Anyway, people. But I would say that's my justification. There's a myriad of different examples where you could say like, oh, well, he's kind of overpowered. However, that was also kind of covered by, I would say, the Avatar lore in general. In general, because the thing is, the Avatar, even when they're born, they have a good affinity for the 4 elements, depending upon their, I would say, base element. Since Aang was air, the closest, I would say the closest element that he had an affinity for was naturally water. And since it was water, he picked up on waterbending rather quickly, leading off to a very pissed off and very bratty Katara, which led to a band of pirates and yada yada yada. It was good times. But then Aang, as much as he didn't really struggle with waterbending, he struggled massively with earthbending, since earthbending was his polar opposite. Airbending is free moving, nimble, agile, It cannot be caged. It cannot be controlled. It cannot be structured. It must be free. And as an airbender, he must be free. He must have room to dance and prance and all that shit. But earthbending is strong, rigid, structured. It requires strength, not nimbleness. Like, you have to be strong and rigid. You have to have form and structure. Like it's Aang's polar opposite when it comes to the elements. Now, fair, Pasta Doc, fair. I would say he learned the basics of firebending, but he didn't get into it. That's the thing. That's why I kind of skipped over that little arc with firebending. He learned the basics of firebending, but fucked up so bad that he decided to like never do it again. But what I'm saying is his struggles with the elements. The biggest struggle that he had with the elements, as far as from a conceptual standpoint, was Earth, because it was the polar opposite of what he had learned to do. It was the polar opposite of his movements. He's not used to being rigid, strong, structured, obvious, and intentful with his strikes. You know, he's supposed to be nimble, quick, defensive. He's not supposed to go on the offense with the strong defense. So it was against his, like, the concept of earthbending went up against his concept of airbending. But as the Avatar, he had to learn it, and eventually he did, through great trial and effort. And then his other biggest struggle was, once again, as we were talking about, fire. He struggled with fire more, I would say he struggled with fire more from a philosophical standpoint. He struggled with fire from a philosophical standpoint, because fire is strong, nimble, and aggressive. Whenever that you watch Avatar and you watch Aang fight, Aang has to be pushed towards aggression. He is not immediately aggressive, alright? So the philosophy of firebending, attack first, crush your opponent, burn them, destroy them, that went against everything that his character is. And it took both him and Zuko a while to get away from that programming and understand fire in a different perspective. That the aggressiveness of fire isn't always to destroy. That fire is simply just a part of life, not pure unchained destruction. And for a while, as we saw before, Aang couldn't get that out of his head because of the destruction of the air nomads, the constant harassment of Zuko, the destruction of the Fire Nation that reigned across the North Pole, the Earth Kingdoms around that time, enslavements, mining camps, like pollution, rampant industrial factories spilling pollutants into the sea and air. The world was off balance, and that was because of this one element. He kept associating with the element with the people that utilized that element. And it basically took a tribe, an outcast tribe of firebenders, to help him disconnect the element from the people that use the element. And because of that, Aang gained an affinity. Now, true, that was an internal struggle, but Aang has his share of plenty of internal struggles. This man has been beaten up, laid out. Let us not forget how Azula straight interrupted his transformation like fucking Vegeta punching Goku as he's transforming into Super Saiyan 3. It's one of those, you're not supposed to do that. But Azula doesn't give a fuck. Azula's here for booty. And that booty was hers. And she marked it with a fucking lightning bolt, man. Alright? Aang has taken some hits. Some very hard hits. Even a hard hit that disconnected him from the Avatar state. This man has struggled with a lot. A lot. And it's not, oh, well, let's put some external struggle in there so that people don't have to freaking, look at us like, oh, why is she so powerful? Oh, why is her problems only superficial? Looking at you, fucking Korra. No, 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 no. Aang's external struggles and internal struggles were not only linked, they were also essential in building her character. They weren't placed there to break the character down in order to justify the rampant rise in power level. No, his struggles were there so that his power level can rise. He doesn't justify his power. He earns his power. He earns the title of Avatar, and he manages to both be an Avatar and be an individual at the same time. That is why he's a chosen one, and that's why he adds even further evidence as to why Avatar The Last Airbender isn't considered, would never be considered woke media. No, that's not wrong. That's not wrong at all. That's not wrong at all. I do love me a strong woman with a very evil cackle. I'm not gonna lie, it does things to me. It does very, very, very bad things to me. But the thing is, we gotta keep this going, because Jesus Christ, I've been talking your ears off, people, and yet somehow you guys have just been just keeping up with me, and I'm so thankful that you guys are actually bothering to listen to my weird little lecture. All right, I'm so glad that you guys are listening to my lecture, because next on the list is your boy. Look at this man. Look at this man's man. Look at that grin. Oh, I love Sokka. I love Sokka as a character. I love him as a person. I love his arc. I love everything he does. Sokka. This man fits the general archetype, if you will. Now, the thing is, the general archetype can represent it in a multitude of different ways, but how Avatar spun it, how Avatar decided to spin it, was a very unique way. It turned the comic relief. It turned the comic relief of this, like, moderately serious, moderately silly cartoon into a general. Sokka, it becomes a leader of men. And you guys want to know how he started? This man was an abject failure. An abject failure, all right? Think about Sokka for a minute, all right? He is surrounded by powerful people. Powerful people, okay? His sister, a waterbender. His best friend, the Avatar. A girl that's crushing on him. One of the greatest earthbenders in the world. The girl that he's crushing on, an extremely talented fighter. And Sokka? Motherfucker has a boomerang. But you know what? Sokka don't give a fuck. Sokka says, you know what? I may have a boomerang, but I'm gonna make it work. Sokka, at the beginning of the series, always had a mindset of, I have to be a leader. I have to be like my father. And that's what tended to get him in trouble. That's what made him into like a weird, arrogant goofball, was that all he did for the vast majority of his life was try to emulate his dad, because that was the only basis of being the leader that he had. And it made him into this caricature of what a leader is supposed to be. He keeps trying to be, he took up the persona of a domineering, tough, brave man like his father, when in actuality, when we are actually introduced to his father, yeah, his first love did turn into the moon. Woo! That's rough, buddy. But when we actually learn about his father, we learn that, yes, his father gives the appearance of being domineering. He gives the appearance of being strong and brave and everything like that. But those are just side characteristics. Sokka's father is a goofball that gives stupid, childish names to his tactics and keeps thinking of the most outlandish ideas that are literally so dumb and so outlandish they fucking work. Sokka's father is clever. He's wily. He tries to outthink his opponents. And because he's been doing that for so long, he created for himself an air of being a domineering, brave, stout man. And that's the image of a leader that Sokka bought and tried to emulate. But in the times when the cards was down, he actually did become a man of his own. And that was Sokka's arc. That was Sokka's arc. Getting out from under his father's shadow and truly coming into his own. Becoming a man, and not only a man, a leader of men. The only thing Sokka could do was throw a boomerang and read a map. That's all he could do. And kind of sort of create a schedule that both Aang and Katara most often ignored. But he got better. He got stronger. He kept fighting even though he's surrounded by an airbender / waterbender, a waterbender, firebenders, the occasional earthbender. There are people with powers all around him, and he's not prepared for this shit. Not at all. Alright? He's not prepared at all. And Toph, of course, we cannot forget the girl. What? But anyway, we cannot forget the girl. But no, Sokka is surrounded at all sides by powerful people. But at the end of the day, these ultra powerful people, these powerful people with powerful personalities and characteristics, very strong people of character, look to him for guidance. They look to him for the schedule. They look to him for the plan. Sokka, what do we do? Sokka, how do we go about this? They look at the least powerful guy for the most guidance because they see it. They see the man for what he is, not for what he portrays. And Sokka's arc was basically not only realizing what the other people saw, but living up to what people saw. And because he did that, because he allowed himself to learn and become a man of his own, this man is a master strategist, a general. He ran a city, and he's a master swordsman. All right? A goofball turned general. That's what Sokka is. And if this was quote-unquote woke media, Sokka would have stayed the goofy character. He would have stayed dumb. He would have never learned. He would have never rise to his true potential. No one would have relied upon him for anything. Not even his jokes. They wouldn't have relied upon him for his jokes. And Sokka has some good jokes. He gets some good ones in. Occasionally. But he does get some good ones in. Alright? Goofball turned general. That's what Sokka is. He is the general. He is the boy becoming a man. And not only becoming a man, a leader of men. A leader of powerful men. Whose collective beliefs made him powerful. Made him respected. There's no way in hell a person like this, a guy like this, a character like this would exist in modern day media. You wouldn't get Aang. You wouldn't get Sokka. Alright? You would get dumb shits. Alright? You would get Peter Griffin level of dumb shits. Alright? That's what you would get. With ultra powerful female women. You wanna know how I know? Because if this was woke media, people would be salivating over Suki. Salivating. Alright? Now Suki, same position as Sokka. Leader of men. Or women in this case. But not only is she a powerful Kyoshi warrior, meaning that she is a borderline master in quite a few weapons and martial arts, but she is the leader of the Kyoshi warriors. All right, I'm gonna need you guys to think about that for a second. Suki is the leader of the Kyoshi warriors. She's stronger than all those motherfuckers. All right, in regards to, I would say, capability minus bending, she's on the level of Kyoshi. Avatar Kyoshi. When it comes to martial arts, all right? If you throw bending into the mix, oh, no. Kyoshi, all the way. But when it comes to pure, raw skill and martial arts, Suki worked so hard and earned enough clout that she was on par with being the leader of the Kyoshi warriors. A spot reserved for Kyoshi herself. Alright? And as strong as she is, as powerful as she is, she gets her ass handed to her. Often. Now, of course, she gets more powerful. She gets more skilled. She gets more clever, more wise, more able to deal with more powerful benders. But that doesn't change the fact that she is, at the end of the day, a non-bender. And she gets fucked up. Alright? She got fucked up by Zuko. I want to say twice, actually. Got fucked up by Zuko twice. Got fucked up by Azula twice. Suki, despite how powerful she is, she kept losing, but she kept learning from her losses. And not only did she learn from her losses, she applied those losses. She applied those failures. She applied those lessons to what she was, and she became more powerful. Now, I won't lie, Suki is a bit underrated. I honestly believe she needed a bit more time. I honestly believe she deserved a bit more of an arc, honestly, in my opinion. But even for what we got, she is a strong character. Once again, a strong woman of character. But she's not overpowered. She's balanced. It's not like she fucking suddenly came in and kicking everybody's ass and shit. All right? And if this was quote unquote woke media, she would have been Katara's love interest. All right? As I said before, masculine female, the hairdo. All right? Aggressively lesbian. Okay? Like, woo! Like those are the traits of woke media. So the thing is, if this would be considered a woke show, Katara and Suki would have been a thing. All right, Katara and Suki would have been a thing. Just bar none, bar fucking none. Suki wouldn't have the flaw of getting her ass handed to her by damn near every bender out there. Alright, she wouldn't have that flaw. She herself wouldn't be prideful, because the thing is, she's proud of being a Kyoshi warrior, and if you talk shit about that, she will, like, come at you, as is the case with Sokka. When he was talking shit about the Kyoshi warriors, she put that man on his back. She put that man on his back, all right? She was very prideful of who she is. She is a strong woman. She worked to the position that she is in, all right? She worked to the position that she's in. And she worked hard for it. But the thing is, she has room to grow. She has room to be more powerful. And she did. And her brightness didn't outshine the main cast. I still love Suki as a character, yet I still recognize her as a side character in comparison to Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Toph. Because you gotta throw it in there. The girl. Further proof that there's no way in hell that Avatar: The Last Airbender would have been considered a woke show, you should say. Because once again, we have genuine characters with genuine, well thought out story arcs, with well placed flaws, and flaws that stay. Some flaws get covered, some flaws get fixed, but some flaws that stay. It's just genuine, likable characters with a sensible and grounded plot. When Suki gets powerful, it's not like she suddenly starts bending. But the thing is, you notice that she gets stronger. During the jailbreak, season 3, part 2, yeah, she was kicking Bender's asses. But that's after having her ass kicked by a lot of Benders, alright? She learned how to do it, how to compensate. And it's grounded because this is Suki, the leader of the Kyoshi Warriors, alright? It's not like some random Kyoshi warrior learning how to deal with Benders and then she learns from her. No, she, being the most powerful Kyoshi warrior, learned how to deal with Benders, cementing further her supremacy over average Kyoshi warriors, okay? Her growth is grounded. Katara's growth, grounded. Sokka's growth, grounded. Aang's growth, grounded. They're all grounded in the reality presented in Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's what makes it compelling, convincing, believable. Now, here's one thing. And I will say, here's one character that I can see people saying like, oh, well, you guys make such a stink about Mary Sue's and women being too powerful and shit, and how that doesn't make sense. And you know the character that they'll point to? I'll show you the character that they point to most often than not. They'll point to Azula. Whew. Azula. Ooh. Damn. You crazy bitch. Woo! Azula, man. Now, the thing is, I will say, and I will admit, Azula's a bit broken. Alright? She is broken in terms of her fighting ability. Especially when she was introduced in what? Season 2, part 2? I want to say that was season 2, part 2. Cause that was when Zuko. Yeah, season 2, part 2. Yep. Season 2, part 2. Cause that was when Aang, Sokka, and Katara were really headed to Ba Sing Se instead of fucking around in the Earth Kingdom. So, season 2, part 2. That was when, like, Azula, like, really came in and started fucking with shit. Pasta Doc. Come on, man. We all want to hit this. But we all have to be fair. None of us are fucking this because she's doing the fucking. Azula's doing the fucking. Alright? But the thing is, oh, you too, Stoops. You have a good day, man. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to finish up the stream, which it's about to finish up a little bit in a little bit, you can go ahead and watch it. Chill out, have some laughs, have some cries, have some deep thoughts. But thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you, dude. But going back to the topic, Azula is broken. Not gonna lie. It was stated in the lore that her fire literally burned harder than, like, anyone's. So that's why it was blue. It literally burned harder than anyone's. She figured out lightning before... Well, okay. I won't say she figured out lightning before anyone because technically Iroh figured out lightning before everyone. Technically. Iroh figured out... lightning before everyone. But the thing is, since her fire burned hotter than almost every other freaking firebender out there, she figured out lightning fairly quickly. Extremely quickly. To the point to where it was basically a secondary fighting style for her. Alright? But the thing is, even though her powers are broken, her abilities are broken. As Pasta Doc stated, she is a villain. She exhibits every character trait of the Mary Sue except one. She doesn't constantly grow more powerful for no fucking reason. Azula stays at the power level that she is throughout the entire series. I don't know if you noticed that, guys, but she does not improve in her power level at all. She remains dangerous, but she doesn't improve. She never trains. She doesn't get better. She doesn't figure out a new technique. When she is introduced, she is at the apex of her ability. That's what made her so broken in season 2. That's what made her so fucking scary and horrifying. She was at her peak power at the introduction. But the unfortunate thing is, or the balancing thing is, even though that she was at her peak power, she was a sociopath, a borderline psychopath. And her main ability wasn't her, I would say her main weapon wasn't the fact that she was an accomplished, and I do mean accomplished firebender, all right? Her main weapon was her mind. She was a master manipulator. A master manipulator, all right? She knew that her apex was firebending, but she knew that she was more powerful with her fucking mind. All right? If she knew you on a slightly personal level or had some sort of, and you're right, Pasta Dog. Okay, she trains when she's introduced, but then after that, does she train again? Like, on the real, we saw her training for like 30 seconds. We saw her training for 30 seconds when she was like, I won't say first introduced, but like when she was introduced for a second time and she actually stayed. She trained for a little bit, and not because she couldn't get the form down, but because she's such a fucking perfectionist. You know, like, she wanted to train just to look good, all right? Just to look good. She's training for style points, all right? Shut the fuck up, Pasta Dog. Me first. Anyway. But no, Azula is a master manipulator. She manipulates Ty Lee, May. Like, she emotionally manipulates them so hard to where they practically couldn't really exist without her. And then it took, honestly, May saying, fuck you, I like Dick better, in order for Ty Lee to go along with her. All right? in order for Ty Lee to go along with her. All right? And the thing is, even with that, Azula still keeps playing mind games because at her core, she sees herself as the apex predator of the freaking world. She is on top of the world, destined to rule. It is her destiny to rule this earth, and anyone that's in the way of that they're just meat. They're just meat to be played with, to be toyed with, to be used to her advantage like pawns on a chessboard. All right? But the thing is, when a pawn strikes back, when someone that she thinks that she can control strikes back at her and shatters her reality, boy, does it fucking shatter. As we've learned from the last Agni Kai, or the results of which, where she literally had a mental break and had to be placed in an asylum. Yes, Azula has most of the hallmarks of a quote-unquote Mary Sue, except for the one that makes it the most, except for the ones that makes it the most egregious, i.e., gaining power for absolutely no reason and being liked by everyone. Azula is the villain. Alright? She's as powerful as a Mary Sue. She has the mindset of a Mary Sue. She carries herself like a Mary Sue. That's because that's ultimately what a quote-unquote Mary Sue or self-insert is. At the end of the day, it's a power fantasy. And that power fantasy leads to extremely villainous behavior. That's why, if you really want to make a comparison, Rey from Star Wars is essentially a watered down version of Azula. That's basically it. She is a villain. Azula is a villain because of these Mary Sue-ish characteristics, or these woke characteristics. That makes Azula a villain, but not only a villain, an extremely compelling villain. You're not supposed to feel sympathy for her. You want her gone, dead, buried, out of here. You want her destroyed at the most fundamental level. And you kind of get that. But not all the way. You don't get that satisfaction of her being crushed. Not all the way. You only get the satisfaction of seeing her defeated. Slightly. You can only bask in watching as the constructed reality that she made around herself, convincing herself that she was, in fact, the truth to power, crumble. Coming to the realization that she had no control, that she never had control in the first place, and she never will have control. To a person like her that must have control, that must be powerful, that must be the leader, it broke her down. That's what made her a compelling villain. That's what made her defeat so satisfying, even though not a drop of blood was spilled. You still felt the satisfaction of her being defeated, even though it wasn't as final as you wanted. In conclusion, people, at least for this segment, alright? At least for this segment of the stream, there's no way in hell that Avatar The Last Airbender would be considered a woke show. Because it has actual genuine storytelling, believable characters. It pushes messages, but these are messages that are good. But they push a message, I would say, in a more biblical fashion. Parable, if you will. You can interpret the events that happens in Avatar The Last Airbender and actually learn very important lessons, extremely important lessons about character, about growth, sacrifice. What are you willing to do to save the people that you love? Men into boys, girls into women. Accepting your role that's given to you. Well, no. Rejecting the role that's given to you and coming into the role that you are destined for. Coming to terms with your destiny. Even if the destiny that you are, well, destined for isn't the one that you had your eyes on. Coping with loss. Coping with grief. Coping with anger. With disabilities. There are so many things you can learn from this that aren't shoved in there ham-fisted with the sole purpose of beating a message into your skull. Avatar The Last Airbender didn't lecture you. It entertained you. It told you a story, a hero's journey to save the world. And you learned lessons along the way. There's no way in hell that this would be considered woke media, because it's everything woke media isn't. It has substance. It has character. It has longevity. And it doesn't have an expiration date. Avatar is timeless. It teaches lessons that are universal, that even centuries in the past and centuries in the future will still need to be taught, that are still applicable to those times. Basic lessons that everyone needs to learn. Woke media is dated, prepackaged, has an expiration date. It grows stale immediately. Woke media is like McDonald's. It's right there. You eat it, you consume it, you shit it out, and at the end of the day, how do you really feel? Do you feel good after consuming that? Do you really feel good? Do you really feel fulfilled after being lectured to, after watching a subpar plot with subpar characters, seeing the same tropes played over and over and over? Oh, here comes this chick. She's either gonna kick the main guy out the way and become the main character, or she's just gonna be more powerful than the main character, who happens to be a weird, idiotic guy. She's gonna be aggressively lesbian, yada yada yada. Do you find that satisfying? Really think about that, people. Like, really think about that. No. I fundamentally believe that there's no way in hell that Avatar The Last Airbender would be considered woke. Especially from people from freaking YouTube. You know, the people whose sole job is to do research on this shit. Which means that if it was woke, you would have quite a few people watch it anyway, just to hate on it. Just to hate on it. Just to criticize it, whether fairly or unfairly. They would still have to watch it. Really? You think people on YouTube will call this thing woke? I beg to differ. I think that they would praise it. Because the storytelling elements in it, the storytelling, the plot structure, the characters and their arcs, they're too compelling. They're too awesome. The world building is too rich, too huge. You're trying to convince me that this full 5-star meal is a little Debbie's cake. No, it's not. It's a full 5-star meal. All right? And closing this out is another topic that was requested to me by Stoofs, and hopefully he catches this when he comes back, when he actually sees the rest of the stream. Shout out to you, Stoofs. Oh yeah, shout out to you, Stoofs, bruh. Thank you for the $10. I don't know what I did to deserve it. I gotta be real. I have no idea what I did to deserve it. All right. All I told this man to deserve $10 apparently was that, like, hey, I'm not sick anymore. I'm recovering. I'm trying to figure out my model and shit. I'll be streaming someday. Just give me $10 out of nowhere. I swear to God, man, if this man gives me any more money, I'm going to get fat off of Little Caesars, man. This man is sustaining me. But this was a subject requested by Stoofs, and this kind of goes along in correlation with the woke shit. And that is the recent decline of, I would say, dedicated violence and gore with having to do with the 40K series. Now, give me a few seconds. Because I want to bring up the actual tweet so that I can do this man a bit of justice. So I can do this man a bit of justice. Cause that's what I want. He bothered to reply to me and show up. So guess what? I got to do right by him. So he asked me to talk about the current state of Games Workshop and 40K content, not just the ban on fan-made stuff, but also just it's a rather recent decline in grim dark elements. Bro, I feel you, man. I absolutely feel you. But the thing is, unfortunately, Games Workshop is walking the path that Wizard of the Coast is walking. And that is the path of inclusivity and diversity. Very good concepts at face value. But then when you see their methods in implementing this stuff, you come to realize that the ways that they put this in does not fit the genre that they're in. Case in point with Wizards of the Coast, adding wheelchair options to dungeons. I don't think you guys fucking heard me. Wheelchair options to dungeons. Like a fucking dungeon boss gives a fuck that you're in a wheelchair. That's an advantage. Let me sip my goddamn fucking drink. This is some bullshit. Not all disabled people want to be fucking represented. In fact, I would go as far as say it's downright insulting to disabled people to allow them to create a disabled character because what? Oh, this represents me in a fantasy world? Name me one disabled person that wants to represent the same disability that they cope with on a day-to-day basis in a fantasy game. Now, if the option's there, the option's there. And I am not mad that the option is there. You do what you do. However, I have a contention with the intention of the option being placed there. Because having the option there and then just not saying anything about it, weird, but okay. Hey, if you want to make a wheelchair-bound goblin that fucking shanks people in their thigh, fucking do it. I think it would be goddamn hilarious, quite honest with you. But no, you didn't put the whole wheelchair option there as a kind of throwaway, like, oh, here's more variety. No, you went in there and made a big stink about it. And not only made a big representation stink about it, but then also offered up ways of making wheelchair accessible dungeons. Now, what kind of role-playing game, especially, let's say, Dungeons and Dragons, would allow that shit? But that is just to say that Games Workshop is walking the same path as this. They want as many people as possible and as many people as possible that have the quote-unquote right politics, all right? It's all about PR from here, Stoofs, unfortunately. And they want their PR to be favorable to the likes of Twitter. You know, the people that don't buy this shit. That's what they want. They want their views, their likes, their retweets, their quote tweets. They want popularity. They don't want money anymore. They made all their money. They're making money off of you, Stoofs. Off of my man Red. Off of my man Gar. The diehards. The people that buy the figures. Paint them, buy the rule books, the constant updates to the freaking rule books, all the miniatures, playing the battles, buying the dice, investing in this stuff. They want more clicks. And the thing is, the more people catch on to this stuff, the more people move away from it and create content of their own. That's why they have the ban on fan-made projects, because A, quite honestly, that's money being siphoned off of them. If you recall the Space Marine short film that was cut up into like what, 4 parts, 5 parts? I know you know what I'm talking about, Stoofs. But the Space Marine fan-made short film, one of the greatest freaking, I would say, pieces of content ever made having to do with Warhammer 40k, outside of if their emperor had a text-to-speech device. Outside of that, the Space Marine short film was excellent. Absolutely excellent. And it was so ungodly successful for that person that Games Workshop knew that if this person did it by themselves and just made enough money off of ad revenue, not off of the thing itself, off of the ad revenue from the sheer amount of clicks that it got, from the sheer amount of views that it got. If he was able to make that amount of money, then other talented artists, other talented game programmers, game developers will be able to do the exact same thing to create something fan-made or something like Games Workshop Warhammer 40k. And that's money on the table. That's money that they believe is rightfully owned to them. Who gives a fuck about the fans? We want our damn money. And we want our clicks. So that's what they do. They slim down on the gore. They slim down on the depravity. They slim down on the darkness to let more of these very squishy, very sensitive people in to make it more palatable for them so that they can have the possibility of selling more product, but mainly just to get the PR. And then how they're going to make their money, Stoofs? They're going to headhunt. They're either going to hire people like the man that did the Space Marine movie, or they're going to send that cease and desist and shut that shit down immediately. You're either with us or against us. You work for us or you don't work at all in regards to Warhammer 40K. That's how they're going to make up their money for being less dark, less grim, less depraved. That's how they're going to make it up. By headhunting these people, creating content that is outside of the game itself, outside of improving the game, outside of producing maybe some more lore books. No. They're going to go into movies. They're going to go into video games. They're going to go into comics, dude. And whenever somebody has a fan-made project that looks good, you better believe they're either going to buy it or squash it. You want to know how I know? Because Star Wars does the same thing, dude. Star Wars does the exact same thing. I want to say there was a fan-made Bounty Hunter game. Squashed. A Sith game, which was first teased, then squashed when Disney purchased the IP of Star Wars. Then it was picked up again by fans and then squashed again. Then, I want to say someone was coming out with a Darth Vader short film, which was entirely non-profit, funded entirely by him and his own private earnings, squashed. Cease and desist. They believe that they made it, Stoofs and other viewers. They believe that they made it. They believe that they have made their money, so now they can afford to do shit like this. They can afford to do it. Now, as far as what we as the consumers can do, what we as the buyers can do, what we as the audience can do, the only thing that we can do, my man, is either keep buying the products and just ignore everything else, because that's what I tend to hear. As far as the 40K community, they're going to keep buying the models, keep buying the rule books and dice, but they're not going to indulge in anything else. No content, no shows, no movies, no games. They're not going to indulge in that. They're only going to engage with the tabletop game as a form of protest. And I honestly wish them luck in it, but the thing is, you've already lost when the company believes that now they can afford to be like this, to be aggressive, to be a bit of an asshole, to farm for likes other than money. If a company, a media company that you love believes that they've made it to a point to where now they can prioritize public relations over profit, then you've already lost. And that's the unfortunate thing, man. You've already lost. So, honestly, man, I hope one day all this shit turns around. I really do. I really do hope that all this shit turns around. Maybe some new blood gets in there that actually have their heads on straight. A mind for money and audience than public relations and clicks. Maybe one day we'll have people that think critically. Think out what they're fixing to say. Provide an argument for what they say. Even though their opinions may feel objectively stupid, they provide a decent argument, you know? Maybe one day we'll have a good Jordan Peele film. But those days, I don't believe will come in my lifetime. Ha! But anyway, people, that's going to be enough out of me today. We went for 2 hours, and I hope that it was an entertaining 2 hours for you people. Like I said, I'm not here to lecture you, even though I will admit there are times where even I feel like I'm lecturing you, and I truly don't want to do that. The only thing I want to do is talk to you. As the quote-unquote other side would say, start up a conversation. I just want to chat with you guys. I want to make you laugh. I want to make you smile. I want to make you think. And I want to entertain you at the end of the day. Support me if you want to. $5, $10, $1, 50 cents. Hell, I'll take a like. I'll take a subscribe with the bell for notifications. I'll take a follow on Twitter. I'll take whatever you can give me. Because at the end of the day, I have fun with you guys. This is fun for me. This is healthy for me. And I hope it's as fun for you as it is for me. And I hope to continue that fun. All right? Follow me at all the sites. Subscribe. Donate if you want to. And I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully with an interactive model. And always remember, take it easy. Have fun. Keep some music in your heart. Keep on jamming.